When we're children, we are learning passively all the time. As we get older, and especially as we get to our mid and late 20s, it takes an immense amount of focus and energy in order to learn. But that focus and energy feels almost like an agitation. And I think that as children, we don't necessarily experience that agitation because we can experience and change passively. As we get older, mid 20s, early 30s, and so on, that threshold of agitation for people feels like it's something to back away from. But if we can learn to approach that and understand that that agitation is actually the circulation of chemicals, which is the brain and nervous system telling itself, aha, now I need to pay attention and change, we can start to actually modify the way that system works. And it's on all of us to understand that that bit of agitation and discomfort need not be interpreted as discomfort. That's the edge where learning is beginning. So confusion, being perplexed, feeling somewhat overwhelmed by the amount of information. That's actually the stir of chemicals that are cueing the nervous system to change, because if it can do something easily, there's no reason for the nervous system to change. So for instance, I'm musically deficient. I love music, but I can't play music to save my life. And I think that's entirely because as a kid, every time I would try and play music, it just sounded terrible. Everyone cringed. So I stopped, right? But knowing what I know now, that would be the cue to that the agitation, the stress, the embarrassment is actually the cue to the nervous system that it's about to rewire itself. So I think if people just understood that, children and adults would lean into learning more regularly and hopefully with more ease overall. And then the second stage is that just as you've probably heard, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Well, a movie is worth 10,000 pictures. Anytime we're looking at things that have motion, visual motion, our attentional system will naturally gravitate towards those movies. It's actually much harder to read words on a page than it used to be for many people, because we're used to seeing things spelled out for us in YouTube videos or videos where things move and are very dramatic. It is true that the more that we look at those motion stimuli, the more that we're seeing movies of things and things that are very dramatic and very intense, the worse we're getting at attending to things like text on a page. And also the context within a TikTok feed the context switch is insane. Normally you walk from one room to another, or from a field into the trees, or from a hut or a house, or whatever it is. But now you can get 10,000 context switches in that 30 minutes of scrolling on Instagram or TikTok. And I don't want to demonize it, but the algorithms that they've incorporated function on the most powerful way to keep people doing a behavior is intermittent random reward, or random intermittent reward, that you don't know when you're going to hit the jackpot. So you're scrolling, and then you see something. In nerd speak, we'd say signal to noise. So if you're reading some interesting things, this came out in the news, this came out, and then it's all of a sudden a riot, or a person that is base jumping off a building. And then what happens is you start getting the system working for that next dopamine hit that you don't know when it's going to come. It's just like gambling. If we were to look at ourselves through the lens of an experiment, like we would an animal experiment, we'd think that animal is sick. If you saw an animal digging in the corner, looking for a bone, the dog is looking, think that's really sad. That's us. But I encourage you to try experiencing what it is to be completely immersed in an activity where you feel the agitation that your attention is drifting, but you continually bring it back. And that's an important point, which is that attention drifts, but we have to re-anchor it. We have to keep grabbing it back. And the way to do that, if you're sighted, is with your eyes. That as your attention drifts and you look away, you want to try and literally maintain visual focus on the thing that you're trying to learn. Feel free to blink, of course, but you can greatly increase your powers of focus and the rates of learning, which is anchored in all the work of Huberman, Huberman, and others.